All right, here we are with another feedback video. We have Kaz versus Chainmail Mystery Fencer. Fortunately, I don't know who this is. Generally, I'd say you do your stretching off the field, but you know, we do what we do, what we do, what we do. Salutes, we'll fast forward, and here we go. So, start of a fight, we draw, we go on guard. Now, generally, if you're trying to draw your weapon to throw off your opponent's guard, don't enter straight in, right? When I draw this sword out, I like to cross one foot over the other if I'm out of distance. If you're in distance, you die immediately, right? You can cross this one over here, reset on guard, right? That's changed your angle, and then you can adjust your sword, right? You can also cross over here, adjust your guard, do whatever you need to do. But whatever you do, don't go straight in, right? Remember, this is a game of angulation, so you want to get that angulation immediately. All you've done is forced him to address a guard, right? But you're not even you're in engagement, but not long lunge distance. Now that you're in first hand position, right, we go for a little bit of an attack there. So let's go ahead and rewind that and see what happened there. So we're in first hand position, but we're nowhere near distance, right? Now, I like to think of things in terms of the three ranges, like the range you'd have to be to hit at close distance, the range you'd have to be to hit at far distance, right? Brian likes to think of it in terms of programming your opponent, do a few slow actions, then do a fast one, and always attack a certain side so they think that's what's coming. I also like Rob Child's methodology, which is you attack the sword and then you attack the person, right? To kind of picture the measures that you have to move into. But if you're launching an attack past one measure without the other, right? If that was your attack to the hand, way too close. If that was your move into long distance, not quite there, right? And that's what you have to do, one or the other. And because of that, you did this sort of short offensive hop, right? And this isn't bad, I'm not against the hop, but this is a big motion that he could have disengaged, stepped to the side, boop, right in the chest, right? You also didn't quite have the gain. You had it here, right? And so what do we do when we have the gain, right? We push down a little bit and in, right? So you want your guard to be right above his guard or right below his guard. But more than anything, you want to attack some sort of shallow target to the arm or the sword itself before clearing in. So you do your free attack because you have control of the blade. Your point's not online, so instead of hitting somewhere in the vita or the center of the body, it goes clear. He raises his offhand, does a nice disengage, and you get out, right? In the future, think of the attack sword, attack body. I think that's the easiest way of explaining how to do this, right? So that you can move into those distances a little bit more carefully and get a reaction. You always want to get a reaction. That reaction might be attacking you, so make sure you have a counter posture formed, right? But you want your opponent to do something because that's your opening for your next attack. All right, so this was good. I like to see this because you don't want to dawdle in the long distance, right, where he can hit you. So you do a quick advanced lunge. You did something about the blade. Now here, I would have pointed all the way over to get more of a gain. We can see here with this, gain here, right? You don't have a gain. In fact, if anything, it looks like he has a little bit of a gain on you, which is why this push forward, he just takes control by moving his blade into a fourth hand, right? And you're lucky that you did not run into his blade right then. I mean, woohoo, right? So you're lucky in that, and it's because you didn't keep that gain, right? Ulrich in his videos, which he does a great job, he points to one side or the other. You're moving straight in, right? So that initial gain's here, but let's say we'd been in this position, right? And you'd moved your foot and therefore body this way. Then you would have pushed him and his blade in such a way, also in that angle, that it might have shifted in your favor, but instead you went straight in. You're also turning your foot away from your opponent So let's say you recover now, right? Your back foot's going to immediately kind of come over here, right? Or at least that's what your body's going to want to do, which is going to slow your recovery. Yep. Slows your recovery down just a hair, which puts you at a little bit of an susceptibility. All right. So we're stepping, we're gaining control. I imagine no one's going to attack for a while because that was high energy. No, Kaz keeps the offense going. Okay, I like this again. So we're doing a little bit of bladey, right? Here, it looks like we gained on one side. You know he's going to adjust over. So you disengage down and you go to the other side and you double disengage. And here, that looks like a good connection. If we look at this interception here, definitely looks like you have slightly more of your blade over his. And the reason I'm saying this is so exact is because it looks like you have about the same length of blade. It looks like you both have a dark wood or something similar. So it looks like y'all are doing pretty good with the blade there. You keep the gain. Notice how you shifted a little bit downwards and forwards, right? You want your guard to go into the blade. Now he is retracting to regain the blade. That's why he's raising his tip. And he does a great job keeping pointed at you, right? But you don't care. Now, you go in and you're almost in a fourth, and that kind of saves you as you raise. But more what saved you here is he tried to take that gain back to not get hit and succeeds and tries to counter, and you move back, except you move your blade too much, and now you got a little bit of a problem there. Probably he's going to hit. Alas, no, you leaned back, and we immediately countered, and we immediately got back. So I will say, Cash, you're doing a wonderful job keeping aggression. For sure, he has been reacting to you this entire fight. At this point, right, we are a minute into a fight, right? And he has not really attacked you once. Not in primo, not in second. It's all react to you, react to you, react to you, to react to you. The issue with this is how long can you keep it going? Because every time you launch an attack, you're a little bit more tired. It's going to be a little bigger, right? So I would say do more attacks that matter, right? And then break a little bit sooner, right? When you don't have it. You're focusing on the attack and not the reposition, right? Where will his blade go? How can I intercept that point, right? Your first attack moves your opponent. The second attack blocks where they're moving and hits them, right? So as you move between those three ranges, as you attack the sword and then the body, make sure that if you don't have any part of that process, as you retreat, you regain that counter posture and position. There we go. Less energy, a little stillness. Okay, a little bit of explosives, a little still, a little slow. Now, I will say these advances, they're good, but look how big that tempo of your back foot coming forward is, right? Do you think in doing this, he could disengage around and pop you? And then if you said no, like your step isn't finished, right? Just watch that, right? It's a little big for a gather in distance without a full counter posture, right? I get that you have control of the blade and you're going for it, but what's the plan now? Because you're not pointed at him, right? So here, when you had that, right, that would have been the good opportunity to twist your hand, right, into that second and reposition towards the target. You have the wall, your body's over here, right? This is what he has to hit, and this is what you have to hit. But instead, you're going to retreat the whole sword with you when all you had to do was sort of reposition. And this sort of, I'm going to keep attacking in, it's just not great for a rule set. You might get a hit in HEMA, right? But getting that draw on the way out, very difficult to do, very difficult to land. I like the initial back off guard, circling, changing the target. Now, when we're in this guard, right, where are we trying to do? Well, generally, we want to point the point over here or over kind of here, right? Because you're either going to grip the sword to raise in fourth and intercept, R, grip the sword to raise in second, and intercept, right? We generally don't want to point straight at the opponent unless we're planning on doing a quick roll attack and going to either side, which may be what you have planned here. You are against the wall, though. He has better field position. I would kind of try for the field, but you got Master Gilbert there. You know, what are you going to do? So here, okay, here is an example of things not to do. Foot and sword. You see how your foot's kind of leading? Your sword isn't fully in position before your back foot's going. And this is, so whenever you do a sword movement, it should feel like I'm grabbing the tip of your blade and pulling your body forward, right? So your sword should fully extend before your foot moves. And then that foot should fully move before the rest of you moves. And this is why your gain and your sword position isn't hitting right. That sword needs to fully extend. If you had done that, if we had extended the sword, you see where it lands here, right? So you would have been here. We do hit the position when you extend, right? You would have been there before you stepped. And guess what? If you had been, you would have been able to push him further this way because you would have had the leverage and you could have gone right into his neck there with that circular step with your back foot. It's obvious that's what you want to do. Yeah, there it is. But you have to have the sword in position first, which is why that gain keeps failing. Man, you are quick on that recovery, though. Good job with that. A good recovery is the most valuable skill. Now here, you should be attacking. Look how close your tip is. Look how close your tip is. Look how close your tip is. It's right here, right next to him. How do I get the... Sorry, I'm doing this for the first time in a while. This is stopwatch. There we go. It is right here. Right close to there, right? If you had been able to get that position that close, there we go. I couldn't get the box to come back. If you had been able to get that position close, you would have been able to get in. From here, because you have that heavy gain, this is when you can pass step. You have no offensive action. You have full control. Whip into second and hit. You should be hitting. You should be hitting. You should be hitting. Look how close that tip is, but instead you gave him the gain, right? When you have your sword in position to strike, strike. So here we're repositioning. We're going to reposition a few times just because we're tired. You go for it, you didn't get it, and you attacked a secondary target anyway, right? And you got lucky, and we can see why you got lucky, right? He could have lowered that point and hit you right in the head, but instead, your opponent has been defensive this entire fight. Again, he's never attacked you. Why would he? So you just keep attacking, right? And it's working decently. And maybe you'll hit. But what would be better is having that good position before you go in. You would have done it by now. And again, he hasn't attacked you, which is why these little feigning... I mean, look, there are fencers that the moment you went for that attack, you would have gotten hit right in the head, right? His sword is pointed at you. You're just lucky he's being overly defensive. What this fencer should be doing is trying to set up an attack, right? But instead, he seems to be in a position where he thinks he can just counter and hit you because you're going to keep attacking. He's focused too much on reacting to you, and reacting to your opponent is always going to be harder to work with than forcing your opponent to react to you. Now, we're in front of the camera, so there's not much I'm going to be able to see here, and I've rambled on enough, so I'm going to let this roll. Again, another attack. I like the two-tempo attacks, but you have to do something about the blade. You could have sniped the... Oh, you did snipe the arm. Well, see, there you go. You figured it out. Sorry. You know, couldn't quite see, but you got the idea. So you figured it out, right? Attacking the arm based on where it'll go. Ah, there we go. Trying to do it again. Okay. That was a good idea. Unfortunately, he got you. So let's look at that one again. I think it was just you didn't realize when people are left-handed, they're a little closer to you, which definitely matters. Yep, he went for it, and then he just went for that attack, counter like he normally does, and he was a little closer that time because he's left-handed. That's all it was. You misjudged the distance because of the left hand. I am sorry about that. It happens to the best of us. Good shot from Gray, though. Chainmail had been doing that the whole time. He just, it's, and this is kind of Master Ryan's theory of programming. You throw some short shots so that people think your range is shorter than it actually is, and then you throw a long one. It programs your opponent into thinking something will be there that's not. He just did it by swapping to the left hand, which gives you about 3 more inches of reach, 6 inches, depending on the person, right? Which was just enough to tag you. But you're back in right hand mode. You form your counter posture, but what are you counter posturing, right? His sword is pointed there, and your sword is pointed there. So you're moving in this direction, right? So you're not going to form an intersection point with this counter posture unless you're reacting to something. So maybe it's an invitation. We'll see. It was a feint to try to get an attack. But your opponent has not attacked you this entire fight, so that's not going to work. Your opponent only counters when you are good, and here he'll probably counter. No, he focused on defense, right? Your opponent's only countered when you're in the short distance, and he knows he can just lunge and then or just lean forward and then maybe lunge to hit. That information, you've done at least 4 attack sequences, right? So you should be aware that he's not going to counter from that far out. So all that move does is put you at risk. Now we're in a low guard, but we're kind of keeping the same guard 2 times in a row, same counter posture. 2 in a row, exact same technique. So either you're hopefully programming your opponent, so your opponent will have a better reaction this time. So if you're planning on him having a better reaction, keep going. Each time you do this, your opponent will react better. So maybe, yeah, there we go. But he's still not countering. You went too quick. You have to get the exact same movement. So if you wanted him to react like that, you would have needed to get that exact same deep shot that's forcing that deep parry, right? You have to do the same things the same way. You can't change it in any step, which is why the more tempos you throw into a programmatic action, the worse it'll be. So different move that time. Ooh, okay. So a sign that your opponent's getting impatient. That's the most he's reached this entire fight, right? Hopefully you sense that in that moment. He is ready for you. At this point, he's getting tired. He's getting frustrated. That's the most he's reached. And when your opponent does a big reach like that, you can guarantee they're going to do it again right after because they want it. That's the moment in time where they want it. That moment of frustration, that moment of whatever's there. So whatever you do next, he'll probably largely counter. Much more alert, much more ready for you. He's getting aggravated with your nonsense. There's the counter. Yep, and there's the counter again because he is, yep. And now he's going to be a little bit more defensive. Yeah, I hit him in the hand for sure. Again, he's going to be a little bit closer. Got to deal with the blade before you attack. Got to deal with the blade before you attack. You're trying to pop shot when he's fully extended at your face. Smack his blade out the way. Do something. Or better yet, don't smack, but gently push without him realizing it out of the way. Stringere. But, Okay, here you have good angulation, but you gave it up. You're giving up that blade contact to strike. I'm not sure why is he swapping back? Did his arm just get tired? Did we call a shot? I should be listening with sound. He's adjusting. Let's see what happens here. Good change of angle, but we're going too close. Rather than run through, pretend like you're going to do that run back. Get him to overreact. You're trying to get a big reaction by doing a big action. Try to get a big reaction by doing a small action, right? Do the big action so he thinks it's coming, but then just sort of feint forward with your body to get a big overreaction and then hit. Don't walk into the ropes. no matter what you're trying to do. You're trying to make him comfortable by getting him out of the sun. He's more prone to close because you're on the ropes. Now, he can't go backwards. The pressure's on. He'll probably counterattack here. He's also left-handed here, so he's going to have more range. So no matter what you do, he's going to counter. And he countered. Did it hit? Hard to tell. Let's see. Something happened. Not a hit, okay? Again, hard to tell with the camera. And the posture is good. I mean, he's got his entire body profile to where it's harder to hit. You're squared off, which gives you more strength, which is what you're going to want with these charging actions you want. So everyone's doing everything correctly here. I just wish Chainmail had attacked once this entire time. Defensive fencers can be difficult, but remember, when they're defending, they can attack you. I'm also not sure why he keeps swapping hands, if he's just getting tired or what. And looked like a hit. Yep, unfortunate. I would be so frustrated, Cass. I would be so frustrated. How unfortunate. Again, it's just you got to change up with these guys. They're defensive. You have to have that full gain. Focus on some gaining the blade drills. I think ultimately that's what you need. I mean, that first attack there, right? It went the wrong way. You attack, right? But look at how that attack ended up. You didn't have that gain when you went in. And he easily took control. You had it, but because you shifted your body, it allowed him to go all the way around. And that didn't even intercept. It should have intercepted his body, but you gave him the gain with your step. Now, you anticipated where his blade would be because you could feel it, and he just kind of tags you, I'm guessing right there, and then nothing on your way out. Unfortunate fight. Practice the gaining of the blade. If there's one thing I could say, do some gaining of the blade drills. And if you need me to go over those with you, just reach out. I'll be happy to do that.